Hello everybody, what's up? How you doing? Welcome back to another Game Maker tutorial. In this video, I will be teaching you how to make another room transition like last week's Fade In, Fade Out. And this one will be a seamless room transition like the ones found in the Link to the Past and the first Legend of Zelda games. So without further ado, let me get open the project file and we can start going through it. For those of you that watched my last week's Fade In, Fade Out room transition video, will find the project file very alike. There's some different colors here, but the basics are the same. We have 3 sprites, PR player, crate, and tele here. 32 by 32, and they're all centered, as you can see. Have their origin centered. 4 objects, OBJ player, very simple, as you can see. Just some speed and play variable and very simple movement code, as you see right here. This part is not even needed. There. We have this object crate, which is just there for aesthetic sake, so we can see which room we are in. Sys transition, empty, except for the fact that it's persistent, which is very important. No object teleport, which is the object that we collide, the player collide with to start the transitions. We also have a set of rooms, which is our mid with the player centered in. This will basically be the room we start in. If we go to the right side of the room, we'll go into room right, which has the right arrow to the right. If we go to the left side, we go to room left. Up, we go to room up. And down, which has all their arrows in it. And if we check room RM initialize, it's basically just an empty room with the creation code. I have an enumerator for the transition. Basically enumerator transition left, right, up, and down. And go to next room. All rooms are 640 by 480 with speed 60 frames per second. But that is fully adjustable and you can do exactly as you want with it. So to get started, we want to open this transition and add in a create event and drop in some code. We want to initialize some variables. It's always important to label your code just so later if you come back to change it, you will know what's where. And in this one we'll have kind, which is the kind of transition we want. For now we'll just set it to the transition.left, which is the enumerator we created. Next room, which will for now just set to room, but this will be later changed by a script that we create. Set step, which is the current step of the animation, which basically increments every step of the room, and time, which is the total frames that the animation takes. The total frame, the next room, and the kind can all be changed will later be able to be changed later in the script. Now we'll have to also add in a creation code for us to create the surfaces that we're going to be using to draw the transition. Here's how it works. Basically, one surface is created at the start of the creation of this transition. In this surface, you basically take a snapshot, if you want to call it, of the current room we're in, and save it, draw it to that surface. And there's another surface which will be the next room we change to, and these will basically be put beside each other and pushed in the direction that needed. We'll go completely into that, but for now we'll just create 2 surfaces. Surf start, surface create, and room will be, I believe it's surface get width. This is the width of the application surface, since that's the width, that's the thing we want to draw to the surface. And surface get height, and also I'm just going to copy paste here and close it up, and we can copy the whole code here and add that to the next line and change this to serve end. Now one more thing we want to do in here is to draw the first frame of the room we're currently where we start in. So we'll do surface set target and set the target to surf start. And when you set the target, you also want to always reset the target afterwards so you can go back to the application surface. Now inside here we'll first want to draw clear and see black, cover the whole thing in black, and then we want to draw surface, and we want to draw the current frame of the application surface, which is just the frame that we collide with tele object from 0, 0 and the whole application surface to this one. Now, since this is fully opaque and there's no alpha values here and there, you can remove it you can do so that the PC doesn't do the check for the alpha value. So we can do the draw enable alpha blend to false and draw set, I believe, color, right enable there, set all the colors to true and alpha to false. Now copy this, go down 2 lines and add it after you draw the surface, and you can put the alphas back to true. This should help being not as taxing. Now copy this because you're going to need it in a second, add an event and do a draw GUI end, and then here you want to add the same code, but you add surf end, and I will just call this update surfaces. Since we can use surfaces and they're not pretty flat, they can leak into memory, you need to always make sure to delete surfaces, so delete them after you're done with them, so delete surfaces. And we'll just do surface, free, surf, start, and free, surf. And now this is a lot of surfaces, surf repeated all over the place. Now we can add another event now, and we want this to be begin step. Add code, and we will just call it increment step if you want. Do step plus plus, and if step is greater than time, meaning that we have run more steps than the time that the current animation is over, basically, we will do instance destroy. I believe, yes. Now, since the surfaces can by random just disappear since they're in the memory, we can check if they do not exist. If surf start and does not exist, surf end, then I mean they have disappeared basically, and we need to still change the room. So we'll check that if room is not equal to next room, then we'll do room, go to next room, and then also instance destroy, but yeah. This has to go there. Now continuing, we want to add the actual draw GUI event where most of the animation starts. But before getting to that, there is one thing I remember that we need to change, and this is not an and it needs to be an or. If either of those doesn't exist, then we want to skip the animation and just go straight for the next room. Now, in this draw GUI event, we'll be adding the bulk of the code that everything runs on. So basically draw the animation, or transition actually would be the correct word, transition. Can never seem to get that word correctly. Now, we need 6 temporary variables. One will be width, one height, x1, y1, x2, and y2. These will basically help to place the surfaces in correct position in the room. We want to use width and set that equal to display get GUI width, and height will be display GUI height, of course. Get GUI height, and we want to do a switch statement, and there will be switch on kind, so we get the correct x and y position depending on which transition we want. Because if it's transition up, then we want to go from up, we want the correct screen to go from up down, and if it's from right, we want from right left. Yeah, we will get to that here. So if it's case transition dot left break, I'm just going to add in all of these transitions that can be transition dot right break, case transition dot up, break, and case, transition, dot down, break. Those are the 4 transition types that we can have in here. And here I'll just add some more space, just get in the XY, Y1, X2. I'll get to filling them up in a second. Just want to place them so I can later be easier to explain it. So X1 and Y1 is basically for the surf start, and X2, Y2 is for surf end, then obviously. And the way that this transition works is basically that it would find a number between 0 and 1 and multiply that width or height. Since this is left, it will be multiplied by height. No, by width. Sorry, I apologize. So if it's 1 times width, then it will be right outside of the view limits. If it's 0 by times width, then it will be exactly in the center of view. Now, we will use this to advantage to draw it to the screen. So for example, for this one, we want to do it 1 minus step divided by time times width. Here it will start outside of our view and then slowly but surely go down until it reaches 0. 1 will become 0 here because step divided by time will do it like that. And then we will multiply it by width. And y1 here will be 0 and y2 as well. Now for the x2 we will want it to start at 0 and do the exact same animation. Step divided by time times width. Now here the surf start will start in the middle and then go all the way out of the screen. Now I'll get the correct code for all of these transition down on the screen behind the scenes, and I will let you see through the code after I'm done. So let me just fill it in and I'll be back with you in a sec. So I'm back again and I finished the code that we needed. These are basically all the transition following the same rule that I was doing for transition left. For right, up, down, left, up, yeah, you get it, right, up, and down. So for right, we basically do the opposite of left. For up, we do the same as left, but in the y1 instead of x1. And the down is the opposite of up, basically. I'll wait and pause for a few seconds so we can get the code down. Just pause the video and copy it down, and we'll continue. Next, we'll have to check if we have changed room. So if room is not equal to next room, we'll have to change it. So room go to, I can't even get this right, next room, there. And then we'll have to draw the surfaces. So draw surface, and we want to draw them stretched. First we can start with surf end, and x will be x1 and y1, and width will be width, and height will be height. You can copy this line of code and add it right below it because we need this almost the same line for surf start. Change to x2 and there. That's everything done for the transition. Transition is done, we just need to add in the collision check at OBJ teleport. But yeah, we can go in here, add in a create event, and this one will be exactly the same as the create event, almost exactly the same as the create event for my previous video on transition. I'll actually link that in the description for those that want to check it out. It's a simple fade in, as I've already mentioned in multiple times in this video. We will just initialize variables. We need 4 variables. We need kind. Well, I'll just for transition.left, but I will chain with a script. We'll set next room, which will also be chained with a script. I'll set that to room, xx to -1, and yy to -1, and that's all we need in the creation event. Then we will add in another event. This will be a step. Add in some more code, and we'll do player collision detection. if place meeting X and Y, and we want to deal with the obj player. This can be later changed for whatever you want, specific for your project. If meeting, we'll have to do, and here is why I made x6 and y to -1. Because in this position, if you're going from left to right, you may not want to change the y position on the screen. This way we can do that in case it has the y position has not been changed. If x is only if that has been changed. Basically, if it's not -1, we want to set obj player.x to be equal x6, and the same for y. y is not equal to -1, then we'll set obj player.y to y. There. Now we'll have to call a script which we'll create soon. Room go to transition, and I'll get to creating that now. Script create room go to transition. Copy that and add in this. And first of all, we want the room we want to go to. Next one is the transition to use. And in brackets, I'll add in step, which is a totally which you can decide if you want to add or not. Which will be the total if you want to change the total length of the transition. Wow. So now we'll do width and instance create at 0, 0 and of sys transition. Doesn't really matter where it is in the room. But with the newly created sys transition, we want to change a few variables. We want to change next room to equal argument 0. We want to change kind to argument 1. And if argument count is greater or equal to 3, and argument 2 is greater than 0, we will change steps to equal argument 2. This way, the last one is just completely optional. You can decide to do that or not. Now, back in the obj teleport, we'll add in what we want. And here for room, I'll just add next room. Transition will also be kind, and step, I'll just set it to 60. I find that to be a good number for this specific test. The reason we added the next room and kind here is because we can now change it in the creation code of the obj teleport object so that we can go to different positions in different rooms depending on which one we collide with. Now I'll go into each and every room and add each of the obj teleports that we need. And I will run you through it as soon as I'm done. So look forward to a very quick and nice time lapse. Now I'll put down all the obj teleports in every room that's needed. In our mid, you can see there is in all 4 corners. Arm up, bottom, just to go back to our mid, and down, up to go back to our mid, and etc. etc. Now, the tips I have to you for this, for example, I can first show the creation code of these. It basically sets the next room of the object that you want to go room to. So by clicking with up one, you will change to arm up. The transition you want, which is basically the down, which is push down, and the Y or X position of the player when they go to the next room. So by not changing their Y or X position, they will keep the current Y or X position, meaning that they will basically be stable, but that can be played around as you want. So, as you can see here, we have the creation code for this, goes to arm left, transition to right, and X6 room width. And you can play around with this and see exactly how it works for you. A few tips that I have is to make the distance from outside the corner here, the object teleport you see is outside the bounding box of this room. You should make it about half the size of your character sprite, so it will look smooth when the character goes into the collide with the object teleport and comes out on the other side. And then also have character come only show halfway through the other side. I'll show you when I show the example. So, with all of this done, I can show you how it turned out, and as you see, we have a character going around this room. If I go to this left corner, we'll be pushed out to the left room, and then back here, like the clips that I show you from The Legend of Zelda. And if I just go without go to the edge of this room and then stop touching any corner, you see that I only show half of the character sprite. This basically looks very seamless. Now, this transition goes very well with the oval type of room design that the RM2Cave dev show, so I can put that in the description, so you go check out his channel. He's a pretty cool game maker tutorial video maker as well. So, and that's all I had to show for you today. It was a pretty long video, I guess, but it had a lot of cool stuff in it, and I really liked making it. So, if you like the content of this video and want to see more gaming tutorials or any type of videos, just leave a like and subscribe, and comment if there's anything else you want me to make a tutorial of in the future. So until next time, goodbye and have a great day.